So unfortunately, by the time my client got back to the United States, his dream home was completely unrecognizable. Everything he loved about the property was gone. The DIY projects had damaged the home. And on top of that, he now had a higher mortgage payment that he never agreed to. He and his son stopped speaking. The relationship was so damaged that my client ended up leaving California altogether and moving to Tennessee. His son eventually moved out of the home as well, and he found a renter through his church, a lower income family who didn't seem to mind the condition of the home. So now we have a father and son who are completely no contact for several years, but both still are on title of the home. So eventually my client decided it was time to sell. He wanted to close this chapter and get the equity of his home and use it for his retirement, and that's where I came in. I actually navigate complicated family dynamics all the time, so communicating between father and son wasn't difficult for me. My client didn't have any of the tenants' contact info, so I reached out to the son, and he connected me with the renters so that I could notify them that the house would be going to market and that their lease would not be renewed, although I later discovered that they actually didn't have an official lease at all. Luckily, the tenants were incredibly kind and cooperative, which makes all the difference. I scheduled an appointment to view the property so I could assess the condition, determine pricing, and find out how much time they would need to relocate. So I always approach tenants with a lot of respect. A lot of realtors forget that these people have lives, kids, jobs, and stress. There is a way to sell a home without treating renters like they are an afterthought. We need to remember that renters are paying for peaceful, undisturbed use of that home. And the moment the property goes on the market, that gets disrupted. They have to keep the home clean, make themselves available for showings or open houses, put pets away, and work around everyone else's schedule. These are things that I suggest that you do to help tenants get on the same page and cooperate with the sale of the home. When you coordinate to get professional photos, also pay the extra money to get a 3D virtual tour done so that buyers can preview the home before scheduling an appointment. Give proper notice to the tenant, at least 24 to 48 hours for appointments. Give them play-by-plays, maybe like a weekly update. I often encourage the landlord to offer a temporary rent reduction as a thank you for the cooperation. You can also offer a guaranteed return of the deposit as long as they move before close of escrow, assuming they haven't done any major damage to the home. If the tenant needs to move prior to the property closing escrow, make sure you've given them a realistic time to relocate. Make sure you do a pre-move out inspection and give them time to address any repairs that need to be done. And remember, an owner-occupied buyer is much easier to find than an investor willing to take over the lease. So if you're asking them to break their lease, be prepared to negotiate a fair cash for keys that gets paid once the property closes escrow.